Five, four, three, two, one. Hi, GVH.
Hi, Candy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm in
Oh,
Texas.
wow. You're in Texas?
Yeah, I'm actually in Houston right now, but I've been to the archives, as you know.
Oh my God. So jealous.
Uh, well, you know what? You know what I learned was that I wish I had planned it to go when somebody else was going to be there because it's a little bit lonely. It's great to read, but you could do that with somebody else. So I could imagine two people, like Nell Sullivan was there the week before I was.
Oh, that's too bad you missed each other.
Yeah, well, I'm going to see her tonight. But
Oh,
it would have
okay.
been great to be in the archives together and then going out for supper because my
Yeah.
traveling companion was out of town for a few days. And so I would just go back to the hotel room and, then go downstairs to the lobby and have a drink. Really tragic. Cormac McCarthy, researcher.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, I kept talking to people because I kept thinking maybe somebody else is here for the archive, right? But there wasn't. I was the only one that week. But I did get the whole room to myself. So I should backtrack.
Amazing.
I've been on an epic trip that is a two-part working holiday.
Yeah, I was going to
And
ask you about that.
yeah, so I have been doing some interviews for my documentary that we've sort of touched upon, where I'm meeting people that I know from book clubs. Let's just leave it like that. And I'm meeting them that I knew them online and I'm meeting them in person. I've been doing it for a long time. So
So
I
that
had
includes people from the former Cormac McCarthy Forum, but also other book clubs online.
Yeah, other book clubs like a Shakespeare book club and a general classics or contemporary novel book club. And from Instagram even. I had a female a woman blogger who was she's on Instagram, she's like an influencer, history of Italy. We actually met her 2 years ago
Oh, wow.
and
That's
got to
amazing.
meet her. So that's the premise. The whole meaning of the film has slightly changed, which I'm still discovering. But
Okay.
I am ready to sit down and edit now. I feel like very much just do it.
You
Shit
have a
or get
lot of
off the pot.
footage.
I have so much. I have a lot of footage.
And
Um,
from many, many years, right?
and
Like,
from many, many years. Yeah, and including yourself and
yeah,
Rick Wallach and Wes Morgan. So just different people that
amazing.
we've known each other from online. So that was one aspect of the trip. The second aspect was that something came to my attention, which we may or may not have mentioned on a previous uh, podcast episode. We may not have because it all happened very quickly. But
Right.
Todd, one of our colleagues, Todd had emailed me from the archive, and he said that in the Kukuli problem files, that there was some pages from the Cormac McCarthy Society forum printed out with things I said. And of course, I was intrigued. So,
As
um,
one would be, yes.
as one would be. So there was a confluence of events occurred. I was able to get some time together, able to get a travel companion, and we have gone apeshit between the archives interviews and then just sightseeing. So we have gone from Chicago to Vegas to LA to Houston to the Dallas to San Marcos, which I found out it was called San Marcos, not San Marcos.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Well, that's from Cody Ward, who we've met at conferences, right? He's another colleague of ours. He said he watched Slackers, Richard Linklater's film, and they called
Oh,
it
yeah.
San Marcos, not San Marcos.
Oh, okay.
So we're going with Richard Linklater's film, Slacker. And I guess we should kind of break down what the archives are. I've seen basically there's a tradition that creatives, artists, and writers, traditionally most famously writers, they keep all of their notes or most of their notes. Sometimes
And
they'll keep
letters
and
and yeah,
letters. Yeah,
yeah,
thank you. Letters, photos,
yeah.
anything, any ephemera or paraphernalia relevant to their lives or their artwork. I have seen this is my third encounter with such papers. The first was my old friend Burnett, who's a poet in Canada. He was in the process of getting his papers put into the University of Calgary. So I saw the
Hmm.
boxes like in his closet, right? And
Wow.
just papers. That was the first time. And then the second time was I visited the archives of historian Francis Yates in England. That was 2 years ago.
I
So I
remember
kind
that.
of, yeah, I kind of knew the deal. You gotta promise not to share it publicly without citing it. You can use it for papers or educational purposes, but you need to cite the box that it's in. So if we do read something today, I gotta remember to cite the box. And you go into this beautiful library in Texas, about half hour from Austin,
Yeah.
and you go in and you meet the archivist. They set you up and they bring out, you order ahead. So I had ordered ahead some things. And basically, what did I order? My line of interest was two things: that Kakuli problem thing and parasocial correspondences. These are probably not the things most academics would care about, right? And but
But
I had a little mystery there that I wanted to look at with the parasocial communications.
yeah,
Again,
you talked about that mystery on our Substack in one of your
yes,
papers.
that's right. I quoted the paper, and I don't think we talked about it here, but a brief um, recap is that it had come to my attention from a very good source that Cormac McCarthy had used found objects, if you will, or like cut-ups, not unlike David Mamet or David or William Burroughs, and he had had a parasocial correspondence from a person, and it was 37 letters. And he used them verbatim for the dialogue of the formaldehyde kid.
Right.
And I knew that, and I used that information in my last paper, which you can find on our Substack if you,
Yep.
as you say. So
And you
someone
should read
was,
it.
yeah, I think you should read it. There's a couple of great bits of information, and it's kind of a fun paper. And anyway, so my goal was to find these originals. I knew they existed. Then my other side project was to look at some original Blood Meridian. How could I not do that, right? And I had quite so I had this list just kept going. Um, what was the other thing I wanted
Kid
to
in a
see?
candy shop.
It's yes, and
Candy in a candy shop.
yes, candy in a candy shop. And I knew there were unpublished manuscripts. So I had 3 days, and I was really concerned, am I going to be able to do this and accomplish this in such a short time? But I am a fast reader.
How
So
many hours a day can you be in there?
9 till 4:30.
Okay, so
8:30,
you
8:30.
could have stayed there the whole day if you wanted.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
did my best to stay there the whole day. I had some other circumstances going on, of course, because I was juggling going to a ride to the airport. I had a little baby dog with me. So, there
that's
was a lot
right.
of challenges and severe fatigue. But I did do it. So yeah, the reader mail, what I did to prepare for it was Katie Saltzman, one of the archivists, she sent me a great place that you can go through a list and it breaks down the reader mail. I knew that I had to find reader mail because this person had gone and seen a performance in 2014 of what we call the Passenger in Stella Maris now at the Santa Fe Institute. And after she saw that, performance, they wrote all these letters to Cormac. And so I knew it had to be before the between 2015 and 2020, let's say. I gave myself to 2020 that he may have
Okay.
put them in there. So I had a list of people who had sent reader mail to Cormac. I had no idea what it would look like. The archivists are so fantastic. When they brought out that reader mail, they had organized it so amazingly that what I had found, I wrote a list of names and I could find them so easily in these files. It was incredible. And Katie herself, um, I was told, had done the reader mail, and it was stupendous. Do you think I found those 37 letters? No, I did
I
not.
no, you did
No,
not.
I did not, because the backup thought I had was maybe they aren't in the archives. Maybe he didn't keep them. Maybe he destroyed them. Maybe he put them somewhere else. Maybe they weren't donated. Um,
Has everything in the archives been organized and made available to
yes,
research?
yes. And in fact, there are parts of the archives that are restricted. Um, I think mail from a second wife or third wife is restricted. Anything on his sons is restricted. And I
Okay.
believe they're restricted until 2078. That was the impression. I'm just going off my memory right now. I didn't write that down. But there are some restricted parts. The thing that's really fantastic was I had written Katie about what I was looking for. And she had one of the things that had been drifting around was perhaps these letters were from Augusta Britt. I knew they weren't. But a couple people had assumed maybe that's who it's from, and those are the letters that are mentioned in the Vanity Fair article. Well, I did not think that's what they were. Um, but what came about was that through talking to the archivist, they started to remember there was somebody that they did think they knew was linked to this. And she brought out a special file. And when I read this woman's correspondences, I knew it was the same person
Hmm.
because I'd heard a backup story with some narratives that fit in, that they were in
Okay.
Santa Fe, they were back in there, they had read The Passenger and Stella Maris, and they knew that they were had feelings about their stuff being used in these novels, right? And so I did confirm the person's name. I knew who they are. And I don't want to say it right now because I don't want to make them upset in case they did listen to this. And I say, bless their heart, they did a beautiful job, and I want them to have a great life. These letters are recorded and saved, not those 37. So what we came about when I'm chit-chatting again with different people at the archives, and that was they also felt they were probably destroyed, that would actually be a form of ending the magic. If you're using chaos magic and you're using cut up and such, they had thought, no, I think that fits it. You might destroy those papers. One, maybe he didn't want it to be known or tracked down. But the thing is, people do know. Some people do know that those letters were used. Anyway, so that mystery was quite interesting for me, as I'm sure you can imagine. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. I'm talking too much.
No, you're not talking at all because you're the one who's been through all this, and I'm just an eager listener too.
Hmm.
Um, so there were letters from that person, but
Yes.
not the
Not the,
ones that had the dialogue from the thalidomide kid
no,
or whatever.
those did
Okay.
not exist. And which which I really did feel 50-50 that I would find them or not. Because I think that I know what I would have done. I would have destroyed those. I would not have kept them. Um, and it would relate to chaos magic. To let it go back up and let it go. They've been preserved. They are preserved. And as I mentioned in my paper on page 116 in the passenger, there's a section where Bobby says he kept her letters. He had read them over and over. There were 37 letters. So that's
Yeah.
my other form
Yeah.
of evidence because when
Yeah.
I first read the passenger, I had no idea about that parasocial
Yeah.
correspondence.
Yeah. And
So
so that detail would you would just pass
it
over it
meant
as
nothing to me
yeah.
when I read it, it meant nothing to me. When I read it again, and the way I found it, I don't think I put this in my paper, was I was looking for flaws like Sonnet 117 in Shakespeare, where it says book my errors, because my theory is that McCarthy's errors are clues to things. And I thought I have to find out why Alicia said she didn't go to Mexico and Bobby says she did go to Mexico in the twin novels. And I looked up in the concordance, you can find page numbers. So I looked up all the pages of Mexico, and the one of them was page 117, and I thought, motherfucker. If this is on 117, and it was, but what happened was I found the part where Bobby talks about her going to Mexico, and then my eye caught the letter on page 116 about the letters, just out of the corner of my eye by accident.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was crazy because I was just doing a follow-up on this, trying to find these errors that people say are in McCarthy's work, which I believe are
Or
quite
purposeful.
possibly on purpose,
Yeah.
in the same way that Shakespeare put errors in his work.
Yeah.
Anyway, blah blah blah. So I had a great time looking at that. And out of that came me looking at a few of the reader mail. And it was fascinating. There was one guy who wrote, I don't know, 7 letters begging for autographs. And a lot of people do ask for autographs. And in the reader mail they sent a self-addressed stamped envelope, and they were in there too. He did not send them.
What did they expect him just to send them back a piece of
I
paper
I
with
guess
his
so.
autograph?
I guess so. In the Hollywood days, people would do it all the time. And I think back then there wasn't as many fans or as many, they weren't worried about. Cary Grant wasn't worried about it. Go ahead, have my autograph. I know you're going to sell it to somebody.
Right.
Hollywood was, back then they had a relationship with their parasocial correspondences, right? Um, but yeah, this reader mail, fan mail, if you were, there were a lot of different things that um, were pretty entertaining. There was a group of students who said that they counted how many people died or murdered in Blood Meridian, and it was something like 1,100 people. And they start the oh yeah, and they started out by going, "You're a sick person" or something like that to call
Right, right. Yeah, you
like a
showed me that.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like a punchline. They were like, "You're a deranged person," and
That's right.
yeah, and then I think they
He
asked.
must have been pleased with that.
I would have to say he would have got a kick out of that. Yeah, because I think they were either high school students or first year college students or something, right? Um, what else did I look at? Paris. Oh, I wanted to read the campaign because I'd really
Yeah.
been intrigued by it that he had maybe written that before Blood Meridian or something, and I did get a lot of the campaign read.
Did you get
Uh,
a date on the composition?
I'm sorry, I did not. I
Okay.
forgive me, but it came to my attention that it may have been in the 80s later after I left the archives. I kind of got feedback from someone that said
Okay.
they
It
had
might
thought
have
it
been
was
the
that.
80s.
Yeah.
That was like a something set in Mongolia? Was it
Yeah,
about like Genghis Khan or something or
it
what?
seems to be. It starts out with this one guy just like in the Arctic, barely alive, and he goes into someone's
But is it in the past or like the 20th century, like a
like
present
I
kind of,
me
or
is
you
it
don't know?
possible it's 1100? Is it possible? It's possible. And he believes he's the only Christian in this region. It could be
Okay.
on the border of
Okay.
Mongolia, Russia, Siberia.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I think it's got to be that far apart. There is a relationship to where he feels superior to the people around him in some way because he's Christian.
Okay.
Um, anyway, it did not grab me. It was okay, and I would look at it again if I went back, but it was the one I thought, "Oh, I just can't wait to read this," right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was the one that didn't
That
tweak
just
me. There was
So
another
what
story.
is it, the campaign? Is that like a military campaign, or it
Yeah.
sounds like it's just a story about a lone dude or something.
Yeah, it does get more action involved in it, but he
Okay.
basically is salvaging his way. He uses their snowshoes, he finds way to survive, he has to get himself out of the snow. There's a lot of descriptive. It's very Hemingway.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
quite that moment of like
Oh, I see. Yeah.
his arm went down in the snow and he couldn't push himself up. There's numbers of pages like that.
The
Um,
old man on the step, as
yes.
opposed, yeah, the old man
Yes,
on the
it
sea.
is kind of like that. And, the fascination with tools and artifacts. So it's very definitely
Hmm.
Cormac. And I think a lot of readers will really love it. It's not that I didn't be intrigued by it. It just didn't grab me in
So
the
was
way.
it a full like finished
There's got to be
manuscript?
110 pages, I
Um,
think I read.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Approximately 100 pages in there,
Ooh.
maybe a bit more. And oh, because I got through the reader mail so fast, I suddenly realized I was done really quickly on the first day within an hour. Because it was quite obvious that most of the letters were 1 or 2 pages. I
I
could
see.
see through every name I went to do, I could see right away I'd still pull it out and confirm that it wasn't what I was looking for, but it definitely wasn't. And at this point, I think everyone would agree that the people I talked to would say that it was not, they aren't there. I did not
And
go back.
there's no 3.0 version of the archives coming. There's no, did Katie say anything about a new, like are they going to get any other boxes that they'll then have to
Well,
organize
that's
in
a very good
archive?
question. I don't think so. I
Okay.
don't think so. I'm going to say no. But there's definitely enough in there, like because there were a couple of manuscripts in progress,
Hmm.
or unfinished. I'm going for the cup half full. I did read an incredible one, and
Yeah.
it's called Child of the Times. And at first I
So
thought,
weird. Yeah.
why has he got Child of the Times when he has Child of God? But it did capture me, and I could not get a date on it. When I started reading it, it really felt like the Twilight Zone. I have a little bit of it here, um, on my that in my files. Um, I would like to, I can't read it until I find the box number, so give me a second to do that. But I can do that in a second. So, Child of the Times, it opens with a psychiatrist's office, a leather couch, and across from it, a leather chair. Between them, a low table. On the table, a box of tissues, a clipboard, and a pencil. The doctor sits in the chair, and the man sits on the sofa. The doctor picks up the clipboard and pencil and sits back. The man puts his hands on the sofa on either side and looks down at the cushions and looks at the doctor. Man, I'm not going to lie down. Doctor, no, you don't have to lie down. Unless you want to, of course. Man, I don't want to. I'm not really here for that. Doctor, you just like my professional opinion about some things. Man, yes. So it starts out very slow like
Yes.
that. And
Yeah.
and to be honest, when I first read that, it already got my attention because it reminded me of Alicia, of course, in
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in Estella Maris. It's literally and also the Sunset Limited. Um,
Yes.
and as you read further, it definitely has the flavor of both of those plays. And I couldn't see anything identifying it at first until I got a few pages in. And at the very far corner, it said 2006, and I'm not myself in pencil. You take that for how you will. I don't have to take it.
I
Um,
guess he wasn't himself when he wrote that.
I guess so. And it's a very, I'm gonna try and how do I give you a ballpark? It's in box 162, folder 5, and it's
Okay.
in the file box of unpublished manuscripts. Okay. So I just
Oh,
wanted to get that
juicy.
out in the end. Yes, it is juicy. And I just kept reading because after a couple of pages, it started to feel like the Twilight Zone TV show because I couldn't really get a grip on it. And he says he can't remember anything in his life where he doesn't have a past. So it starts to feel a little bit like science fiction to me. And then it comes out that he wants to find out about a dream that he's had, and he doesn't normally have dreams. And there's some really wonderful bits where it goes like this. Where the guy goes, "Why can't you just tell me about the dreams?" And the doctor says, "Well, if I tell you, then you might miss something that you would have found out by yourself that I have no way of knowing." And the man says, "Well, I don't have time for this. If you don't want to tell me what you know, then I've bought a pig in a poke here, and I should just pay you what I owe you and go back to the telephone directory." And it's funny, right? It's kind of like Alicia. He's insolent like Alicia. He doesn't seem to believe in therapy, and he
And
doesn't
yet he wants to be told what his dream means
what dreams mean, I
by
guess. Yeah,
some authority. So
correct.
that's weird, yeah.
It is. And then the doctor goes on, "All right, the basement of the house, because it's a dream about a house." And he says that if you dream about the body of the house, nobody does. You only dream about the attic or the basement, which I think I told you I thought was very Gaston Bachelard, right? Where he evaluates the psychology of the house and nests and different spaces. This the poetry of space.
Yes, yes,
One of
yes,
my
yes.
favorite books. I love it that I'm stumbling over the title. Really one of my favorite books. So he goes, "All right, the basement of the house is one's personal past. It is largely unknown, largely buried. But the life of the dreamer is built upon it, for good or ill. You can go down there, but the light's not good and there's a lot of stuff down there that you've forgotten about and you don't know what it means. You can't be sure of anything. The attic is the life of your fathers, the family history. You'll find all sorts of memorabilia of those lives, and you can rummage through old trunks and things, but it's hard to get the narrative sense of these things. But since you've no memory of the larger past, you assemble the pieces in a way that makes sense to you, or perhaps in a way that appeals to you, but in your heart you know that this is a most suspect enterprise." And then the man goes, "You're saying you really can't understand anything." So he's pissed. But at some point, I don't know if you can see just from that kind of paragraph how I started to go like, this is a weird conversation. And it's just weird. It's like you don't know what's happening. And then at one point, I guess the man says, the doctor says something about their limited time and maybe we need to wrap up and how long do you have? And the man says, "I have till midnight." And I got a chill down my spine because I think that means maybe he's on death row. And as it goes on, and again, I would say this probably was about 70 pages. And you're allowed to get photocopies of what you're looking at, but you can only get 10% of any manuscript, but you can take as many photos as you want. So I took as many photos as I could because I did want to
Read the
try
whole
and
thing.
read
Yeah.
about this whole thing, yeah. And as it evolves, it comes to this term where the man describes his situation. It seems like he might be wrongly accused of murder of a child when he was a child. So you're finding that out, that there was a dead body of a child in the house in the dream, maybe, or in real life when the cops caught him. And I think both of them know he didn't really do it, but he doesn't care anymore. He does want to die. And he said, in the future, people are going to want to be in my position. They're going to do something so that they get killed by capital punishment. And they'll be on death row because that's the way of this world right now. And I mean, I have to read it again because I was like, what is going on?
What's going on?
It was like suicide by cop, only
Hmm.
it was in prison,
Hmm.
right? So anyway, intriguing. And it has a lot of different ways. It talks a lot about dreams. There's a whole section more about dreams too that is really interesting. And I just thought it was fantastic. So I feel it was so worth my trip from
I'm so
those things,
excited.
you know. And like I said, I got done pretty fast that first morning and I did have a lot of time to look at things. The other things I looked at were some of his cars,
Some of his cars, like
cars,
photographs.
automobiles.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
he was a car collector.
yeah, and I kind of found that enjoyable. And I
What did he have, or
he
what
had
sort of?
a 1959 Allred, which is a very
Okay.
specific sports car, and there were all kinds of letters verifying it. Like you could look at the owner's manual and stuff like that. Really, I'm not interested in that.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not interested in that, but I kind of thought, well, I'll just look at it. I've ordered it, so I might as well look at it, you know? And I also had a letter from the Guggenheim there were lots of letters from foundations and affiliates that he was with. And so I'll look at this. This is from box 235, folder 6 under organizational affiliations. And
Okay.
it's dated 1966. No, April
Yeah.
21st, 1972. That's the wrong letter, that's why. I'm killing myself. I can't see it quite yet, but he does have a a communication from the Guggenheim in 1966, and he got $5,000,
Okay.
which would be the equivalent of $50,000 right now for living for 2 years. I mean, you would have a hard time living for 2 years on $50,000 unless you lived in Tennessee in a small town or somewhere where that money would go quite a ways away. And it meant to me that he wasn't that destitute. It wasn't the greatest amount of money, but he also had other grants over those years that I had formerly been under the belief that he was dead broke and had no money.
Well,
And
maybe he was a spendthrift
yeah,
and he just
maybe,
blew the money, and so he was poor all the
yeah,
time.
oh yeah, maybe he was. Maybe he bought a lot of cars.
Right.
I read some of Guy Davenport's letters. Have you heard of him
Oh,
before?
of course. I mean, I know that they were friends,
Mm-hmm.
and Guy Davenport himself was a pretty amazing writer. And he wrote a review of Outer Dark in the 1960s. So I don't know if they knew each other that long or they met afterwards, but he wrote a review of Outer Dark where he refers to Cormac McCarthy's as an allegorist. So of course, like for me, being like the allegory guy,
Yeah.
of course I jump on that sort of thing. But yeah, and Davenport was he a translator and poet, essayist? Like, yeah, I mean um he's a really interesting character in his own right.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? I appreciate that background. It's funny because I found his letters kind of annoying, but maybe a little,
Annoying?
well, a little uppity. But
Oh
I
yeah, I
mean,
could see that.
certainly, I think he came from that and he had every justification for being that. And I mean, they definitely reveal a kind of a character that you probably would like to have a drink with at the bar, you know? Raconteur maybe. But they did have this vibe of like, I had to stop reading them. I'm like, I don't want to keep reading these. It was just, I read a couple of them, but I was like, no.
Is it
But
kind of a boys sort of vibe?
yeah, there was kind of a vibe of like, yeah, one-upmanship or so. I don't know, just like,
Okay.
I don't know what it was. Maybe they'd be called bougie now or something. I don't know.
Oh,
But
okay.
it did have the flair of I'm putting in the effort to sound pretty entertaining here. So they were entertaining.
I sort of remember, I don't know like if it was in that Vanity Fair article, but
Yes.
somehow like Guy Davenport knew about McCarthy and Augusta
Mm,
Britt or something like that.
hmm. That's right. And that's
In one
what's,
of their letters, he says something, or I don't know.
yeah, McCarthy's run off to Mexico with a poppet.
Right,
Is
right,
what
right.
I remember from Vanity Fair. And it was because of his name in Vanity Fair that I thought I would look at his letters. Anyone who's going to throw around the word poppet, I think I should kind of look at his letters. And that
Speaking
was
of
just
pigeons.
that was impulsive at the time because they were in amongst something else I was looking at. And I said, "Oh, there's Guy Davenport, the guy who knew about Augusta Britt
Yeah,
apparently."
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anything else you think you might want to ask me about it?
Did you look at any Blood Meridian folders?
I did. I looked at
Yeah.
a lot of them, and again, I knew I wouldn't find what I interests me in Blood Meridian, but I think it was really exciting to hold them and to look at them. And it overall, when you look at someone's body of work like that and the work they go in, it's completely humbling.
Oh, yeah.
Because no matter how many times they went to the editor, they had to come back and he had to read them again and go through and make sure the commas weren't there. There was funny things where it says
Oh,
no comma, no comma, and I was dying of
so the
laughter.
editor put in commas and McCarthy wanted them out.
I guess so. I mean, it doesn't say editor, take that comma off, but in capital letters, sometimes four, five, six times on one sheet, one page of
No
Blood Meridian,
comma.
it says no comma, and he circles the comma. So I thought that was hilarious. That'd be a great record cover album, like quotes from Blood Meridian and then his writing no comma, or the front of a zine or something. Anyway, I did laugh out loud. I took a picture of that because it was hilarious. And oh, I know. So Todd had said get the Kakuli problem. So that was one of my files too. And so I'm like, what's it going to be like? I actually did film me looking through it, which I'm going to put into my documentary, I think.
Excellent.
Um, but I don't like to tell a story where I come out looking like an idiot, JVH. But I
What
will
do you mean?
tell you, I was nervous when I heard that there were posts I had made on the Cormac
Right, right,
McCarthy
right. Yeah.
Society page.
Yeah, so you're
I was nervous. I knew nothing good was going to come out of this. I am famous for not only massively insane spelling mistakes, what I would like to call typos. And then on top of it, even when I speak, I can murder any word. I have quite strong dyslexia. And so, those are my excuses. So of course
But so
it was riddled with typos, my post. I'm like
were
horrified.
there any marginalia on
Oh,
those
wouldn't that have been
copies?
wonderful? No, there was
Yeah.
not going
No.
like
Oh,
Candy
that's too
Minx is a
bad.
fascinating woman here on the internet. That would have been amazing.
I just
Um,
want to meet her.
I just want to meet her.
She gets me. Finally, somebody understands
Finally,
me.
somebody understands me. But what's really funny was my first comment responding to the Cooley problem was, of course, I had said, I quote William Burroughs,
Yeah, of course you
that
should because
language is a
yeah,
virus. And I
yeah.
even was clever enough to put the year and title of the book that it came from or the essay it came from. I was like, I didn't even know I knew that.
Was that Place of Dead Roads or it was
No.
the trilogy, right? Like it was Cities of the Red Night or Place of Dead Roads or
Oh, it
something
could
like that.
be. Well, I just happened to get those pages
Or it could have
photocopied.
been earlier that he came up with that. Maybe it was, yeah.
It could have been. Did you hear what I said?
I once upon a time knew that too.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
I was making a joke that of coincidentally I just happened to have those photocopied. But can I find them while I'm talking to you right now? No.
That's that's
Oh, here
okay.
they are. Here they are. Here they are. It would be from box 124. The Kukuli problem, file folder 12.
Or is it just an essay, Language as a Virus? I don't remember. From Burroughs.
Well, I'm going to quote my post on the McCarthy
Okay.
forum
Well,
because it comes from the ticket that exploded.
ticket that exploded. Okay.
Yes, after Burroughs and Language is a Virus in 1986, I think. And I even
Maybe
mentioned that,
68? Because the ticket that exploded is earlier.
yes, correct. I'm screwing up. I'm reading another part where I even mentioned that Laurie Anderson named a song after Burroughs' Language is a Virus.
Oh, wow.
In 1986. So that post was
Oh, okay.
relatively doable. But
That's cool.
yeah, you know who else is in this thread? It's only a few posts. And
Yeah.
it's oh, Candy Minx, of course, here. And then I say something like, okay, he has said influential person 4 times now. No, altogether he has said it 6 times. That was a very sweet article, charming and conversational, not what I was expecting.
Yeah. All
But
true.
don't you love it that I counted how many times they said influential people?
Right, right, right.
And do you know what was on the outside of the folder holding this? Asperger's? Question mark.
What?
I
What does
don't
that
know
mean?
why. I don't know what it means. I don't know if he was saying that the people in these notes were had Asperger's. But of course, being on the spectrum, I laughed out loud and I took a picture of the file folder and I went to one of the archives and I went, Do you know who wrote this? Or because it's McCarthy's handwriting. And then there's
So he
something
wrote it.
else written next to it too, but I'm like, oh my God, is it because I said how many times I counted how many times he said influential people? Anyway, I was dying. I
So is
don't
he
know.
saying that the people who wrote this have Asperger's or he has Asperger's
Well,
for
that's it. Well, I actually do think that he was on the spectrum. I do think he had autism. There's something about, as you and I have talked about compartmentalizing and doing things and his apparent hoarding could be, well, that would be OCD, but the categorizing and everything could be part of it. I don't know. Then Glass made a post, Peter Weber,
Good Peter
and
Weber.
yep, and so did, oh, S Farrell. Who was that? Do you remember that poster? EFSCERBO. I never
Yeah,
knew.
that handle sounds
I
familiar.
remember the handle, and they had quite a long, they had quite a long post in here and there talking about Kakuli.
Hmm.
And who else? That was it. Oh, S for Servo again, and then me. And just pretty horrifying.
Hey, you've been immortalized and archived, so
I know, right? Along with some
you'll
other
be
good
there
people.
forever.
I know that's so funny, right? I know, I can't believe it. So that was pretty funny. And I enjoyed that, but making me since then really be careful with my spelling if I can.
Well,
Marty used to send me an email every now and then. It was, Candy, you're so thoughtful, but I just want you to know, no offense, I just went in and I cleaned up your whole post.
aw.
Yeah, he would do it because he goes, you're trying to say something important, but I just wanted to clean it up for you. Like, oh,
That is a sweetheart.
it is a sweetheart. Any questions?
Oh my God, that's exciting. Um,
It was exciting. And I really
so
enjoyed it. It's such an interesting practice to go into archives and look at things like that, right? So I think you learned something by that. And again, humbling how much work he did. Not that we didn't already know that, but when you actually see it.
yeah,
If I went back again, it would be to read more of those unpublished manuscripts. I think we're going to get some really great things out of it, and I suspect someone's going to do some great things with the reader correspondence. I don't know what that will be, but I
maybe
think
that
it'll
should be you.
maybe. I think something will come out of it. Um, just want to see if I wrote any other notes here that I wanted to mention. I think I got it. The archivists are fantastic. The people working there are amazing. The space is beautiful. I've shared it on Instagram and I shared it on our Substack page. I just did a little, phone camera thing.
Yes, yeah.
They said I could do that.
Permission. Yeah.
Yeah, they said I could have that, do a little
They
video
were
on it.
at the last Knoxville conference, weren't they?
Yes, they were,
I
and
think, yeah.
most of them are going to be there again.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so it was great that we actually had already met.
Yeah.
And oh, and I showed them the tarot cards.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, they were fascinated. I didn't
Mm.
donate any. I thought that was presumptuous. I didn't say anything. They didn't ask, but
Right,
they
yeah.
did stand and look through them. Oh, I gave Susanna. I gave her a she got a deck.
Who's that?
Susanna's one of the archivists.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was there with me on the last few hours, and we had great conversations. So that was really interesting because you do get tired, but sometimes I found talking to them as interesting as being
Energizing. Oh
as
my God, yeah.
energizing, and that they
Because they're
just
not McCarthy scholars, right? They're just
no,
archivists
God
or
no, they're not at all
yeah,
scholars on
yeah,
McCarthy. Only
yeah,
maybe a couple of them have read his work because
yeah.
it doesn't work that way. An archivist is
Yeah, yeah, of
dealing with
course.
the
Yeah,
material
yeah,
world, right?
yeah.
Yep.
So
So
did was has his library been cataloged? Did you look through that?
no, I did not. Maybe that's the third stage. Because that's going to take a long time. Maybe that's the third part you're thinking of, the third
I
edition.
think the Elmore brothers are cataloging the library or something.
Right. I
Like
think,
they told us that at the last
yeah,
conference.
yeah. I think that, and eventually in the future, they're going to have all of the archives online available. That's their goal. Um, and I mean, other
Oh, well, that
interesting
would be
news.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you sell your papers to such an institution, by the way. And his sold the first batch sold for he negotiated $2 million, and then the second batch with the all the family letters, family photos, probably the car pictures I looked at,
Mhm.
and the passenger, the twin novels, that was $1 million that his estate or he or his estate got.
But
Um,
the family photos are restricted,
no,
or
no, you can
some
see
things are
family.
restricted to they're there, but only
Correct.
special access is
Correct.
granted
No,
for whatever reason.
I don't think
Oh
there's even
no.
special
No.
access.
Okay.
Restricted is restricted, and no one gets to see them. And they may include, I don't know, letters. They may include letters. I
Okay.
don't know what it would be that's in there,
But
but
the
there are
plan is
books.
like ultimately that also would be released, in like 30 years or whatever or something
Yes,
or
yes.
okay.
So, from his children and from his third wife, those are restricted for sure. But there may be other things in those boxes too. And
I
what
see.
I understood was the year 2078 stood out in my mind. I believe
Oh,
that, you know, she said that. But again, I wouldn't want to say for sure because as what happens is once you leave there, I've got this accumulation of information in
okay.
photos, and I was trying to tell you some things, and I wanted to read a little bit of it here, and it really overwhelmed me this morning this is the first time I sat back from being there last week. And I went back into all my notes and everything, and I was pretty overwhelmed. I'm making it sound like, oh, I looked at some car pictures, but you are doing really, you go quite concentrated into the moment and you leave your body almost, or
Of
maybe you're
course,
more
yeah.
in your body than ever.
You go into a flow state.
You go into a flow state. Thank you, doctor. That's right.
Remember
And
that book Flow from that
I do.
Czech
I do.
doctor in the
Yeah.
80s or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, I do. And it is a good description. It is a good it's a real thing. Um, can you think of other questions?
Oh my God, so many questions.
I know.
What else did you do? Like, did you go to any remarkable landscapes
Oh God. Oh,
like
on this
like
general road trip, yeah,
that
here
are
we're
sort of
talking
McCarthy inspired
absolutely.
or something?
Oh,
Or
oh no, horribly, horribly inspired because sometimes in my head I was saying to as I drive 6 hours, they rode on. I'm thinking I'm driving through this landscape that the scalp hunters went through, right? Glanton and his gang, and I'm like, I am such a northern pasty white Canadian. I cannot handle the heat, and we're
oh,
dying. I mean, all
so dry heat.
all I've been wearing is caftans, right? My homemade caftans. And so is my friend Trisha. We're like, we don't even want clothes on, but we're wearing these caftans so nothing touches us, right? And we go to the gas station in some little town and they're like, who the fuck are these witches? They're like from a cult or a coven or something. And actually, I think it's okay I say this. We visited Dennis McCarthy.
Okay.
And and I'm laughing because he never said one word, but we're in these caftans, and I can't even imagine what he must be thinking of us waltzing around Santa Fe and the out in the woods in the juniper desert forest. And he took us to Christ in the Desert Church.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh,
What is
oh,
that? That's
JVH, you would love this place. It was so interesting. And he had told me about it a few years ago, and he told my sister too. And we kind of said, "Oh, we've got to go." And so he go, "Well, I'll take you." So he did. He drove, and I'm glad he did because it was a little bit of a mountainous road with a gravel road, and it's I think 2 hours out of Santa Fe. One at least 1 hour is on this mountain road. It's not it's not like 5,000 foot cliff, but it's enough to take your breath away when it's only one lane and another car comes.
Did
And I would, if I had gone
that
in my,
happen?
yeah, but
You
there
have
was
to,
ways to
okay,
maneuver. There was ways to maneuver.
okay.
It wasn't that bad. It could happen that you'd have to back up. But I'm glad I didn't take my van and drive because I probably would have turned around and said, another time, I don't want to do this. Because it was
So
narrow.
is it a church or is it a
The
monastery
monastery.
or
Thank you for
monastery?
asking. It's a
Yeah.
monastery. And I think it started in the 70s or late 60s, 1968. And it was built by, designed by a Japanese American woodworker slash architect.
Huh.
And it's in some Adobe style, but it's also modernist. And you drive this route, much like a pilgrimage, and you get out and you don't know what to expect. There's a gift shop. The monastery where the monks live is behind a fence where they grow food and obviously do their practice away from people. There is a hermit there. Some people in the practice of hermit or anchorite, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I guess so.
And yeah, and then they have a gift shop, so we went in there and got some little trinkets, and then we went in. What happens is they do a thing called the hours. Every hour, they sing a few pages or a few verses of the Psalms. And I think Dennis told me it takes about 2 weeks to get through it. I
Wow.
don't,
So is this a Catholic?
yes, yes,
Okay.
the lineage is
And
Catholic.
okay.
And
And they sing all of the Psalms like in a
yeah,
cycle
yeah, every hour. And
every
so
hour.
every hour. So we took part in one of them. It takes about 10 minutes. We were able to do one because we couldn't stay there. Now, normally the plan was to stay there for 2 days. That was what I was hoping. You're allowed to have guests. They have a guest building, and so you can go and meditate or read quietly for whatever time you're staying there. It's not a social event. It is a practice event, and you're there to, you know,
Yeah.
contemplate.
Yeah, I
And
guess so. Yeah.
practice. So part of the practice is while let's say you're in the guest house, maybe you're reading, you stop and you can hear the bell ring. They ring the church bells and you go and do the hours. And then you go back. And there is a communal eating with the monks. So you can volunteer to cook if you stay there. The rule is you must stay at least 2 days, but you could stay a week. But the minimum stay is 2 weeks, is 2 days, but they're renovating. So they aren't open for overnight
Oh,
guests
for
right now.
retreats.
So
Okay.
they aren't open for retreat. So we weren't able to do that. Um, but maybe in the future. Anyway, it was just glorious. When you go inside the church room, it's not what I expected. It's not stained glass windows. The windows open up onto nature, this cliff face. And at first, I wasn't really sure what I was feeling because it was almost irreverent, but it was also reverent because it was nature and this cliff. And I guess you could say that it wasn't a stained glass with images of Jesus or God, and yet maybe it was. And it was also, you think of the rock as the foundation of practice. It was, I can't even explain it. I probably sound mental, but it was
God speaks in stones and trees, not the trees
correct.
speaking.
Thank you. You've got it because on the top of these rocks are little trees too. So that was a very Cormacian moment. But I was quite like, what the heck, you know? And yeah,
These
I,
guys Spinozists?
I
Do they
don't
think God
know.
is nature?
I don't know. But definitely maybe because you know, and I put the pictures on our Instagram page, so you can definitely see. There's one where you can see, and if you look closely, you're going to see that rock face. But I also put a picture of the rock face up close too on Instagram, so it's amazing. And I put a picture of the view from the road, one of the views from the road of looking down to the Shamus River, and
Oh
it
wow.
maybe doesn't look as high as it was,
But it well actually
but
was.
it's the nearer road combined with height. Yeah. And we
Wow.
went to LA,
Yeah.
not so obviously spiritual. We spent a couple of days in California. We stayed with my friend's family, and then we stayed one night in LA. And guess what? I fell in love with Venice Beach.
Oh, okay.
It's much worse driving in Chicago and Toronto than it is in LA. I
Is
found
there
LA.
really?
Yeah, I found LA
Oh,
perfectly fine. You know, the highway system, of course, if you're going in between suburbs, yeah, but
sure.
I would not say it was different than Toronto or Chicago.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, going to see my in-laws takes an hour and a half in Chicago. If there's any traffic, and worse if there's any construction in traffic.
Yeah.
So I had been to LA a long time ago, but this was a really great visit, and I really fell in love with it. We
Did you
went to
go to the Man Theater or like what
No,
did
we
you?
did not. We walked around West Hollywood, more like the Viper Room and Whiskey
Oh,
a Go
okay.
Go. We were right in that neighborhood. They would had
Oh.
shows. We didn't go see a show, but we walked around. And we what we did do, this is embarrassing. In a very pop culture is I love this TV show Vanderpump Rules. So I know it's so stupid. It's about
That's
people
from
who are
like the 90s or
no, it's
2000
from
or
the
something?
last 10 years.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Okay.
on Bravo, and it's about a bunch of bartenders at this
Oh,
woman,
okay.
Lisa Vanderpump's bar. She's a entrepreneur. And when we were in Vegas, we saw that she has a hotel now. So we said, let's go. We go into the hotel with our friend and our dog, and Lisa Vanderpump's there, and she comes over and talks to us because of the dog. She loves
What?
animals. Yeah, we were laughing because we are super fans. Yes, you can love Cormac McCarthy and reality TV.
And Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah. And so then we go to LA, and I said, well, there was a scandal with one of the actors, one of the waiters in Vanderpump Rules. It's probably not worth going. And Trisha goes, no, come on. We said we always wanted to go. In we go, and the two guys are there. One that had the scandal and one of his best friends, and they were bartending, and we talked to them too. So we
Wow.
had a
Oh
great
my
LA
God.
experience. Yes,
So
maybe.
close to so many different stars.
Yes. Of course, I wanted to see my friend Keanu Reeves, but we did not run into him.
Ah,
But next time, next time. Um, and what else did we do? I did an interview in Las Vegas. That's part of the reason why we went to Vegas. One, we went to do an interview and
yeah.
for my documentary, and one just to have some fun. And then LA was just because she's never been there. So we did that, and she had family there, so we were able to stay with them.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, that helped out. And we went to Dallas where I had an interview. We've been all over Texas because everyone was on holidays and the schedules were just so whacked that I was driving back and forth. And like tonight, I said I'm going to see Nell Sullivan. So, and yeah, I did two interviews in Dallas actually. It was really great. People I knew blogging for 20 years and had never met. So that was really wonderful.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and we all felt like it really kind of awakened our lives in some way, you
Yeah.
know? It was really
That
special.
experience of,
It was such
yeah.
camaraderie, and
Yep.
nobody blogs anymore, and Facebook killed blogging, but it reminded me how much fun we had blogging. We were so passionate and creative, and we wrote all these little essays and everything. It was really fun.
Do you still like maintain your blog?
I share sometimes our podcast there. I might share videos there, but I do not do it regularly, but it still exists, believe it or not. And yeah, I'll pop in and probably like I make sure that our newest episode goes on there. Maybe someone will find it.
Yeah.
And speaking of our little podcast, we got a really good amazing email recently.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Yeah, do you
it's
mind
always
sharing it?
super nice to hear from our listeners.
Yeah, maybe don't put their last
Mhm.
name, but you could read everything except their
Well,
last.
we had a nice email from Danielle or
Oh,
Daniel, sorry,
yeah.
um, or Dan, I should say, actually.
Okay.
I'm not sure where Dan is. He did his dissertation at the University of Glasgow in
Oh,
2020.
wow.
But he just, yeah, thanks for emailing us, Dan. We really appreciate that. It's nice to know that, we're connecting with like other fans of Blood Meridian. And, it was really nice. Dan sent us an email and said that he loves the way that we see past the oversimplified misreadings of Blood Meridian as nihilistic.
Hmm.
And that is kind of one of our missions for
Mm.
sure. Like, we don't want this to be taken as an excuse for violence or whatever, like, or, just a glorification of, things like that. Blood Meridian is so complex and heteroglossic in all that it folds into its incredibly strange narrative. And our conversations, Daniel writes, honor that polyvalency and weirdness again and again. So thank you so much. Like we couldn't, like we're both blushing
Mm-hmm.
as as
Mm-hmm.
we read this out and stuff like that. Dan wrote his dissertation on an eco-monstrous reading of Blood Meridian. So, and he gave us the link to his thesis. So I thought like from the description that he gave, we will be having as we reach the end of the novel and suddenly the extinction of the buffalo becomes like a massive kind of symbol of everything that has happened. And, like we're going to be reading Whales and Men, where McCarthy like also meditates on, like why must we just kill everything, and kill whales, kill buffalo, like why must we exhaust like not just kill like for sustainable, or sustainably or whatever, like, but just why are we so genocidal? So I think like I promised Dan that I'll be dipping into his dissertation when we get around to some future episodes. I know we're very kind of slow in producing. We've both been really busy.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hellish semester, also some medical problems, but that's all done. And I'm catching up on all sorts of writing commitments now. So, but when you get back to Chicago, I guess we'll be putting out our episode of
Mm.
chapter 18 pretty soon.
That's right.
I'm reading an amazing novel about Sarah Borginis.
Mm.
Um, and it's just like it's really like it's a great novel. I'll do my best to kind of uh, talk it up when we come to chapter 18 because it's so good. And the Sarah Borginis that appears in Blood Meridian, and that's such an abbreviated abstracted form, doesn't really do justice to the actual historical figures, like just an amazing person. So I'm excited to get to that. Excited to get to reading Dan's dissertation, and
Yeah,
really super grateful that people are listening and finding positive things in our conversation. So that's always
definitely. It
great to hear,
really
and we're very grateful.
very much means a lot. It really means a lot. And thanks for kind of filling me in on how busy you've been. And we still have tarot cards. Our limited edition tarot cards are still available. You can email us at bloodmeridiannow@gmail.com and I can give you Venmo or e-transfer information. I was able to show Dennis McCarthy our deck the other day, and he really enjoyed looking at it, and he was kind of blown away that it was all original art. I feel I can say that, share that, and he was very curious about the process. He asked me a lot of questions about how big the original art was, what did we make it out of, how do we come up with it, how long did it take? He was just couldn't believe it was 79 cards, and so you can reach out and we can mail off some cards to you. One in closing, JVH, after we leave Houston in a couple of days, we're going to New Orleans and we're going to busk on the street with all the artists. I brought some paintings and I brought some cards, and my friend Trisha has brought some of her skeletons that she makes and different artworks she makes. And so if you're in New Orleans, you can find us in Jackson Square and pick
Wow.
up and buy a deck of cards from us. But we're hoping that New Orleans is going to bring us some, generate some energy. I've also put flyers up on our trip. You may have seen that.
I saw pictures of that. Yeah. That's amazing.
Been dropping them around. I put them in a cool LA bookstore in West Hollywood. And I don't know, maybe we got a couple of new listeners from that, we hope. But we definitely appreciate who is listening so far. And, we really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, and including, like hopefully in that hot LA spot that you put a flyer up, maybe some of the people who are struggling to put Blood Meridian on
Oh,
the screen, will realize that they just have two absolutely essential consultants in you and me.
God, you know what? I agree with you 100%. I cannot
And
believe that someone hasn't come across our podcast and realized it can help them write the movie version or mini series version of Blood Meridian.
yeah, it should be like a 18 episode K-drama
Did you say
type of thing.
18? I love it. Well, you know what?
One episode per chapter.
Well, what's different than when this whole movie making thing happened with Blood Meridian and all the rumors we've followed? I mean, half our conversations on the forum were about who should be cast, what kind of movie, who should direct. It was only really in the last 15 years, which has massively changed, that there's a huge venue on streaming services that could support a mini series. I would
Yeah.
be willing to negotiate a four-part, version or
That's right.
five,
Yeah.
six-part.
Yeah.
Put two or three chapters into each episode. But you could do 18 episodes and give the novel full life in that way.
Yeah, the first episode would take you up to the kid joining the Glanton gang, so
Right,
getting out of prison with Toadvine. You
right.
know, and if it's 2 hours, you could get a lot of the material from chapters 1 to
Definitely.
5 in there and stuff like that. Anyways,
Definitely. And all the esoterica and references you could put in there, would be amazing. And I think it's a shame if they keep focusing on just the violence and whatnot and worry about that. You can get the judge, with a mini series, you can have
yeah,
those
and the Oedipal
soliloquies.
relationship between judge and kid. I hope they
Right.
don't make it too father-son like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
um
And
I don't
again,
know if have you seen like Daredevil Born Again?
no,
The
I'm going to watch it. It's on my list because I noticed
like
it was
the
out there. Yeah.
yeah, the Kingpin character played by Vincent D'Onofrio is I feel like, very judge-like.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the judge is detached from the novel the way Hamlet has detached from the play and just
Yeah.
become this, you know, life of its own sort of pop culture figure.
Yes.
But I felt like I don't know, like Daredevil Born Again was too Catholic for me. It was like too
Mm.
guilt-laden father son
Mm.
type of stuff. And like I don't, I hope they don't do that in Blood Meridian.
Yeah, I hope
Um,
so too. If it ever gets made. We shall see. We shall see. But yes, they certainly maybe the LA connection will fall upon our little flyers and start listening and go, "Oh my God, we need to talk to these
this
two."
is this is just a gold mine right here.
Yes, yes.
Just putting it out there for free.
Well, I love you, and I'm so glad we were able to talk today because it feels
Love you
just
too.
like such a long time. And I was so excited to talk about the archives in some small way. And I believe we're going to do another mini episode with Katie Saltzman from the archives.
That would be amazing. That would
Yeah,
be amazing. It
yeah.
would be incredible to hear
Hmm.
like just how archives are put together is
Right.
just an incredible story that a lot of us who aren't in academia,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
we don't really know about that stuff. And even, someone like me who's like in academia, but I'm don't really do archival work as a kind of natural thing,
Right.
but I've come to it,
Yeah.
because, I have colleagues who are into archives and stuff like that, and they have infected me with their enthusiasm for this, and it is an amazing, important form of living memory that it would be great to hear more from somebody who actually does that work for a
Mm-hmm.
living.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay, we'll talk
All
soon.
right, well, have a good,
Have a great holiday. I know
thank
you're
you, and
taking a little vacation.
you have
Yeah,
a great dinner tonight,
I will.
and the
Thank you
safe travels back home.
for sure. Thank you. Take care.
But we'll talk very soon again.
We will. Okay, bye
Okay,
everybody.
bye.